I had just given birth. Everything felt perfect. But minutes later, the midwife walked in with a fake smile, insisting I take an injection I'd never heard of. My gut screamed no. She pushed pills instead. I pretended to swallow and hid them. Moments later, she returned, silent, hovering over me. My heart pounded. I knew she wasn't there to help. I hit the buzzer and screamed. Chaos erupted. She was caught red-handed, trying to swap my baby with a lifeless child. That night, I learned she was part of an organ harvesting ring. If I hadn't trusted my instincts, my baby would be gone. Never, ever ignore your gut. I had just experienced the smoothest delivery of my life. I didn't feel the slightest bit of stress or fear. It wasn't my first time. I had mastered the entire delivery procedure. The entire experience felt almost routine, like a simple walk in the park. The baby was healthy, and everything seemed to be going perfectly. But little did I know, the horror that was lurking around the corner was about to change everything I thought I knew about trust, safety, and motherhood. After the delivery, I lay in my bed, finally able to rest. The birth had taken a lot out of me, and I felt a wave of exhaustion washing over me. I was isolated from the other new mothers, and just one midwife was assigned to me during my recovery. I tried to fall asleep, but there was this overwhelming sense of dread creeping into my gut, an instinct I couldn't shake. Something wasn't right, and as much as I wanted to rest, I just couldn't ignore the feeling in my gut. The only family member who had been with me was my spouse, but they had stepped out to grab 1 or 2 essentials after all the chaos of the last few hours. I was alone, but that wasn't the reason I felt uneasy. No, it was something more. That's when she approached me, the midwife. She was wearing a fake friendly smile, but something about her just didn't sit right with me. She asked me, "Hi, how are you doing? I have an injection here that will help you recover faster. It will also help you sleep better." I looked at her, confused. I'd never received such an injection during my previous deliveries. It seemed odd to me. Why now? Why wasn't this routine? I politely declined, thinking that I had everything under control. But she didn't back down. She insisted, saying, "This is a routine for all new mothers, and it's completely safe. You'll feel much better." I couldn't explain it, but my instincts screamed that something was terribly wrong. I politely declined once more, but she didn't stop. She pressed harder, now pulling out a blister pack of pills from her pocket. "If you don't want the injection, you can take these painkillers. Trust me, they'll make you feel better." At that moment, something clicked in my mind, and I realized something was off. I had experienced this process before, and I had never been offered anything like this. There was something hidden behind her forced smile, something far darker than just wanting to help me. I couldn't shake the growing sense of danger. I refused the pills, but she was relentless. Finally, I accepted the pills, pretending to swallow them. I secretly hid them under my blanket. I felt a deep sense of unease that wouldn't leave me. Was she trying to drug me? Was this some sort of test? Or worse, was it something far more sinister? Once she left, I tried to calm myself. But I couldn't sleep. The unease in my gut had grown into something far more palpable. I kept my eyes closed, but I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching me. My heart raced with each passing minute, my pulse quickening. I didn't know why, but something told me the danger wasn't over. Then, just a few minutes later, the door to my room opened slightly. I pretended to sleep, barely opening my eyes, barely breathing. But through my half-lidded vision, I could make out the nurse standing in the doorway. It was her again. She stepped inside without saying a word. I held my breath, my chest tight with anxiety. She approached me slowly, quietly, her presence almost suffocating. She hovered above me for a moment, then quietly walked out of the room. But the unease only intensified. Something was wrong. I had to be sure. I waited, counted the seconds, and then she returned. My heart stopped. My blood turned cold. This time, she didn't check to see if I was awake. She came back to finish what she had started. As she turned to leave, I pressed the buzzer for help. I screamed, loud enough for the entire hospital to hear. The nurses rushed into the room in a panic. The hospital descended into chaos. The midwife was caught red-handed. The same midwife who had offered me pills, who had drugged me, tried to do something unspeakable. She swapped my baby with another lifeless child. That was heartless, despicable, and inhumane. She was apprehended on the spot, her fake smile now replaced by a look of shock and fear. She admitted everything. It wasn't her first time. She had done it before. And that was just the beginning of the nightmare. The hospital acted quickly, offering their apologies, and even promised to pay for damages. But that wasn't enough. I couldn't let this go. They begged me not to take the case further, but I refused to stay silent. I called the police. The midwife was arrested, but as the investigation deepened, I realized this wasn't just an isolated incident. There were other victims, and the midwife wasn't working alone. As the case unraveled, I discovered that she had connections to some powerful people, big men, who had backed her and were connected to an organ harvesting cartel operating in Arabia. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. The case had gone cold, buried under layers of corruption and deceit. It felt like the truth was being suppressed. I was left feeling helpless. The case remained inconclusive, with no justice for the other victims. The powerful people behind the scenes were too strong, and they made sure the truth never reached the light of day. But despite all of this, I take comfort in one thing. I was able to save my child. My vigilance that night, my instincts, allowed me to protect my child from the horrors that were meant to happen. I decided to share my story because I want people to understand. Never ignore your instincts. Stay alert. Don't trust anyone too easily, no matter how friendly they seem. In hindsight, I realized just how important it is to stay conscious and aware after giving birth. If you can't, make sure at least one trusted family member is always present. Never accept medication or injections from anyone you don't know or trust. Don't ignore the signs. It could be a matter of life and death. This is my story. I am Emina from Sarajevo. Don't forget to express your opinion in the comment section below, like and share this video with friends and family so they can learn too.